The first thing you learn working rural emergency rooms is this. If someone comes in calm after something terrible, they're either in shock or they caused it. My name is Daniel Moore. I'm a night shift EMT, and in November 2021, I was assigned to a one-room emergency clinic off Highway 50 in central Utah. Middle of nowhere. No trauma wing, no security. Just 2 EMTs, 1 nurse, and a sheriff who's usually 20 minutes out. Locals call Highway 50 the loneliest road in America. That night, it earned the name. It was 1:12 a.m. when the doors opened. No siren, no headlights racing in. Just a man walking in on his own 2 feet. Late 30s, maybe early 40s. Work boots, denim jacket. Clean, not injured. Too clean. He stood under the fluorescent lights and smiled like he was checking into a motel. "I need help," he said. "There's been an accident." That's when I noticed the blood. Not on him, on his boots. Small flecks, dried, someone else's. "Where's the victim?" I asked. He tilted his head, thinking. "In my truck." I grabbed the gurney and nodded to my partner, Lisa. We stepped outside. The parking lot was empty except for one pickup, engine still warm, tailgate down. Inside the bed was a man, mid-20s, shirt soaked red, deep puncture wound just below the ribs. Not a car accident. That was a stab. I checked for a pulse. Weak, rapid, fading. "We need life flight," I said. Lisa radioed it in while I applied pressure. That's when I saw something that made my stomach tighten. The wound was clean. No tearing, no hesitation marks. One controlled strike. Professional. We got him inside and started working. Oxygen, IV, pressure dressing. The man on the table groaned, eyes fluttering. I leaned close. "Hey, can you hear me? Who did this to you?" His lips moved, barely. "He didn't stop." "Who didn't?" I asked. His eyes opened just enough to lock onto mine. "The driver." I turned. The clinic doors were open. The man who brought him in was gone. I stepped into the hallway. "Sir?" I called. No answer. Then I heard the sound. The lock. The front door clicking shut. I ran. Too late. The metal bar dropped into place, locked from the inside. I turned back slowly. He was standing at the nurse's station, smiling again. "I didn't want to interrupt your work," he said. "You looked busy." My hand slid toward the panic button under the counter. He noticed. "Oh," he said. "That won't work. I cut the line on the way in." My mouth went dry. "Why don't you sit?" he continued, pulling out a chair. "We've got time." Lisa whispered my name. The patient started convulsing. We had no choice. We worked. The man watched, not pacing, not nervous, just observing, like he was evaluating us. After 7 minutes, the flat line screamed. I called it. Time of death, 1:29 a.m. The man nodded. "Okay," he said. "Now we can talk." Lisa backed away. "Daniel," she whispered. "He killed him." "I know," I said. The man stepped closer. I didn't kill him, he corrected. I finished it. My blood ran cold. He was begging, the man continued, crying, wouldn't stop. I hate noise. I hit the panic button anyway. Nothing happened. He smiled wider. I told you. That's when he reached into his jacket, slow, deliberate, and pulled out a badge. Not police, corrections, old, bent, retired maybe. I worked transport for 15 years, he said. You'd be amazed what people admit when they think no one's listening. Lisa bolted for the back door. He didn't even look at her, just raised his voice. Don't. She froze. How many people come through here at night? He asked me. Not many, I said. Good, he replied. That gives us privacy. He placed a knife on the counter. Clean, recently washed. This isn't robbery, he said. This is quality control. I stared at him. For what? He leaned in, close enough that I could smell antiseptic on his hands. People who don't deserve to keep going. My radio crackled. Sheriff dispatch trying to reach us. The man sighed. See, that's inconvenient. He turned toward Lisa. Pick one, he said to her. You or him? My heart slammed. Don't, I said. He shrugged. Fair. Then he did something worse. He unlocked the door. Run, he said. Let's see how fast help gets here. And stepped back into the hallway, blocking the exit. Behind us, the dead man's heart monitor restarted. One single beep. Then another. I looked back. The body on the table was breathing. The first breath wasn't a miracle. It was a reflex. I knew that even as the monitor chirped again, weak, irregular, agonal respiration, the Lazarus phenomenon, rare but documented, the body restarting itself after resuscitation stops. That knowledge didn't make it less terrifying. Daniel, Lisa whispered, you called it. I know, I said. Back on him, now. The man with the knife didn't look surprised. He looked satisfied. See, he said softly. Told you. People cling harder when they shouldn't. The patient's chest rose again, shallow, wet. His eyes fluttered open, unfocused. I stepped between him and the man. You wanted quality control? I said. Then let us do our jobs. He considered that, head tilted. Fair, he said again. You have 5 minutes. 5 minutes for what? He didn't say. We worked like our lives depended on it, because they did. Airway, oxygen, IV wide open, pressure dressing reinforced. The wound was bad, but not immediately fatal if we could stabilize him. The knife had missed major vessels by inches. That's when I understood something that made my hands shake. The stab wasn't meant to kill him quickly. It was meant to make him suffer. Sir, I said to the patient, stay with me. What's your name? His lips trembled. Caleb, he breathed. Caleb, listen to me. You're safe right now. The man laughed quietly behind me. No, he said. He isn't. Lisa shot me a look. I could see it in her eyes. She was thinking about the back door, the hallway, the unlocked exit. So was I. The radio crackled again. Clinic, respond. Status check. The man turned his head toward the sound like a dog hearing a whistle. That's your sheriff, he said. Still about 18 minutes out? I didn't answer. He walked over to the radio and pressed the transmit button. All good here, he said calmly. False alarm. Patient expired. He let go. Static answered back. My stomach dropped. You just signed your own paperwork, he said to me. No one's coming fast. Caleb groaned, his eyes focused on the man. Panic flooded his face. It's him, he gasped. Don't let him. The man stepped closer. Caleb talks too much, he said. Always did. I moved without thinking. I grabbed the sharps tray and threw it at his face. It clipped his cheek. Didn't slow him much, but it bought us a second. Now, I yelled. Lisa ran. I shoved the gurney toward the hallway, wheels screaming on tile. The man lunged, grabbing the side rail. The knife flashed. I felt heat rip across my forearm. Pain came a half second later. Lisa slammed the crash cart into him from the side. He stumbled back, surprised for the first time all night. That was our window. We ran, down the hallway, through the supply room, out the rear exit into the cold desert night. The wind hit like ice. Lisa kept running toward the road, screaming for help. I stayed with the gurney, pushing it across gravel, every bump making Caleb cry out. Headlights appeared in the distance, too far. Behind us, the rear door creaked open. Footsteps, unhurried. He wasn't chasing. He knew where we were going. Daniel, he called, you're bleeding. I looked down. My sleeve was soaked. Leave him, the man said. He's not worth it. I didn't answer. The footsteps got closer. Then, a gunshot. Sharp, deafening. The man froze. Another shot. Closer. Sheriff's office, drop it. The man slowly raised his hands. He smiled. Late, he said. Deputy Alvarez came out of the darkness, gun trained steady. He cuffed the man without resistance. Lisa collapsed to her knees, sobbing. I leaned against the gurney, barely standing. Caleb was still breathing. Barely, but alive. They took the man away. His real name wasn't in any database. The badge was real. Retired corrections officer from another state. Clean record. Commendations. They found 3 more knives in his truck. And a notebook. Pages of names, dates, locations. Rural clinics, truck stops, rest areas. Places where help is thin and silence is thick. Caleb survived surgery. Before he was airlifted, he grabbed my hand. He followed me, he said, all night. I picked him up because he was bleeding. He wouldn't stop talking about who deserves to live. I nodded. I didn't tell him the man had asked us to choose. The clinic reopened a month later. Security cameras, panic buttons that actually work. A deputy parked outside on night shift. I transferred. I don't work Highway 50 anymore. But sometimes, when a patient comes in calm after something terrible, I still hear his voice in my head. This is quality control. And I double-check every door. They teach you one rule in emergency medicine that nobody writes down. If a patient refuses help, believe them. They usually know something you don't. My name is Aaron Keller. I'm a paramedic, and in February 2022, I was working a rotating night shift at a rural emergency outpost in eastern Wyoming. Not even a full ER, just a stabilization bay attached to a fire station. 2 beds, 1 ambulance, 1 locked cabinet for controlled meds. No trauma team, no psych unit, and after midnight, no backup within 40 miles. The kind of place where you're expected to improvise and not ask too many questions. At 2:41 a.m., the tones dropped. Single vehicle incident, mile marker 117, male subject, conscious. No mention of injuries. That should have been the first red flag. We found him standing beside his car. No smoke, no skid marks, no visible damage except a shattered windshield, broken outward, not in. The man looked about 50, heavy jacket, no blood, no limping, no shaking, too steady. "You hurt?" I asked. He shook his head immediately. "No hospital," he said. "I'm fine." People in shock don't sound like that. "What happened to the windshield?" my partner Jess asked. He glanced at the car, then back at us. "I hit something." "What?" He hesitated. "Someone." Jess and I exchanged a look. "You need to come with us," I said. "No," he replied instantly. "I really don't." That's when I noticed his hands. They were trembling, but not from cold, from effort, like he was actively holding something back. "Sir," I said, softer now, "if you hit a pedestrian, we need to—" "I didn't hit him," he interrupted. "He jumped." That was strike 2. "Where is he now?" Jess asked. The man swallowed. "Gone." We brought him in anyway, not because he consented, but because protocol says potential head trauma overrides refusal. He didn't fight us, didn't argue. He just kept repeating one sentence the entire ride back. "Please don't put me in a room with a door." The clinic was quiet when we arrived. Snow pressing against the windows, generator humming. We put him in bay 2, curtain open, door unlocked. Vitals were normal, BP fine, pupils equal, no signs of intoxication, clean. I started filling paperwork. That's when he grabbed my wrist, hard. His grip was strong, way too strong for someone supposedly shaken from an accident. "Listen to me," he whispered. "He's not hurt." "Who?" I asked. "The man," he said. "He's just angry." I pulled my hand back slowly. "Sir," I said, "you're safe here." He laughed, short, broken. "No," he said, "I just brought him closer." Before I could ask what that meant, the lights flickered, just once. The man flinched like he'd been struck. "Did you lock the ambulance?" he asked. Jess looked up. "Why?" "Because if he sees it," the man said, "he'll know I stopped running." A sound came from outside, metal scraping concrete, slow, deliberate. Jess frowned. Probably wind. But the man's face drained of color. "He followed me," he said, "all the way from Rawlins." I stepped toward the window. Nothing outside but snow and the dark outline of the road. I turned back. "Okay," I said, "start from the beginning." He took a breath. "I picked him up an hour ago," he said. He was standing on the shoulder, no coat, no bag, just watching cars go by. My stomach tightened. "Why'd you stop?" He was smiling, the man said, like he recognized me. The scraping sound came again, closer, from the side of the building. Jess stiffened. "You hear that?" she whispered. I nodded. The man grabbed the edge of the gurney. "He asked me one question," he continued. "Do you ever wonder who notices when people disappear?" I reached for the radio. Static. No signal. The generator hummed louder, then steadied. The man's breathing quickened. "I didn't answer," he said. "I just drove." Jess moved toward the back hallway. "I'm checking outside," she said. "No," the man said sharply. "Don't open anything." Too late. The rear door creaked open. Cold air rushed in, and with it, footsteps. Not rushed, not sneaking. Bare feet on concrete. One step. Pause. Another step. The man on the gurney began to cry. "I didn't leave him," he said. "I swear I didn't. He just let go." The footsteps stopped. Right outside Bay 2. A shadow passed beneath the curtain. Then a voice spoke. Calm. Pleasant. "Emergency services," it said. "I need help." Jess froze. I felt every hair on my arms lift, because that voice was using my name. "Aaron," it said gently. "I think I'm hurt." The voice said my name again, closer this time, not raised, not threatening, almost polite. "Aaron," it repeated. "Please." Jess's hand hovered over the curtain. I grabbed her wrist before she could pull it back. "Don't," I whispered. The man on the gurney was shaking so hard the bed rattled. "That's him," he sobbed. "That's exactly how he talks, like you owe him something." The footsteps moved again, one step forward. The curtain shifted, just an inch, enough for a shape to press against it from the other side. I could see feet now, bare, dirty, standing perfectly still. "Sir," I said, forcing my voice steady, "you're inside a medical facility. You need to identify yourself." A pause. Then the voice answered, calm as ever. "I don't have a name you'd recognize." Jess swallowed. "What do you want?" Another pause. "To finish the conversation," the voice said, "with him." The curtain twitched toward the gurney. The patient screamed. "No! Don't let him look at me!" The lights flickered again, longer this time. The generator coughed, and for half a second the bay went dark. In that darkness I heard movement, fast now. Fabric brushed my shoulder. Something cold passed inches from my face. When the lights came back, the curtain was fully open, and the space beside the bed was occupied. He stood there like he belonged, tall, thin, wearing clothes that didn't match the weather. Light jacket, no gloves, skin pale, stretched tight over sharp features. His eyes locked onto the patient. He smiled. "You left," he said softly. "That was rude." The man on the gurney thrashed. "I didn't mean to," he cried. "You said I could go." The thing's smile faded. Not angry, disappointed. "I said you could stop," it replied, "not leave." I stepped between them. "Sir," I said, louder now, "you need to back away." It finally looked at me, really looked, up close His eyes were wrong, not empty, not glowing, just attentive, like he was studying me the way you study instructions you plan to follow exactly once. "You're not involved," it said. "Yet." I felt my mouth go dry. Jess reached for the controlled meds cabinet. The thing noticed. "I wouldn't," it said without turning. "Sedatives don't work well on me." The patient sobbed harder. "I picked you up because you were bleeding," he said. "I tried to help." The thing tilted its head. "You stopped helping when you ran." The air felt heavy, pressurized. I reached for the wall phone. Dead. My radio hissed once, then went silent again. The thing sighed. "Every time," it said. "Someone always thinks distance changes responsibility." It leaned closer to the patient. "You saw me," it continued. "That's the rule. Once someone sees me long enough to recognize me, they don't get to decide when it ends." I felt a cold realization settle in. "You're not injured," I said slowly. "You never were." The thing looked at me again. "Correct." Jess's voice shook. "Then why come here?" It smiled. "Because you're trained not to look away." The patient suddenly went still, too still. His eyes rolled back. Monitor alarm screamed. "Cardiac arrest!" I yelled automatically. Jess moved on instinct. Compressions, airway, oxygen. I hesitated. The thing watched us work, interested. "He's dying," Jess snapped at it. "If you want him alive, back off." The thing considered that, then shook its head. "I don't," it said. "I want him honest." The patient gasped suddenly, eyes snapping open. He screamed, not in pain, in terror. "It's behind you," he yelled. I turned. Nothing there. When I looked back, the thing was closer to the bed. Too close. "You can stop this," the patient begged it. "Please." The thing leaned down until their faces were inches apart. "You already stopped," it said gently, "when you decided you were done caring." Then it placed 2 fingers on the patient's chest. Not hard, not violent. The monitor flatlined. Instantly. Silence. Jess froze. I felt my knees weaken. The thing straightened. "That," it said, "is the difference between an accident and a choice." It finally stepped back. The pressure lifted. The lights steadied. The generator purred normally again. The thing walked toward the exit. At the door, it paused. "Oh," it said, turning slightly toward me. "You were right about one thing." I swallowed. "What?" "If someone refuses help," it said, smiling faintly, "believe them." Then it opened the door. Cold air rushed in. Snow blew across the floor. When the door slammed shut, the clinic felt empty. Normal. Too normal. Backup arrived 14 minutes later. Sheriff, fire, another ambulance. No footprints in the snow. No sign anyone else had been there. The windshield fragments from the car, broken inward after all. They ruled it stress fracture, The patient was declared dead on scene. Cause, sudden cardiac failure. No charges. No report that made sense. Just quit 2 weeks later. I stayed. But now, every time a patient refuses help, every time they beg not to be put behind a door, I listen. Because sometimes they're not refusing care. They're warning you.